It's the third week in August, Sunday, and I just want to run through price on DXY, which would serve as a compass for my execution this week. So let's get to it. So over here, we could identify this range with this sweep of liquidity to the downside and this close above this high. So we could say this is a bullish range from this low to this high, with here being premium and over below the 50% being discount. So if we are going to continue bullish, considering this range, we would like to see price take out some form of liquidity, which would serve as a catalyst for a bullish continuation. And with that being said, this low, this candle's low here looks like that catalyst. So I will have my eyes on this old monthly low. I'll keep my eyes here for a reaction. Now, considering how we closed this previous month, this is July's candle, we would anticipate that August candle should have some form of bearishness before we switch bullish. If we are going to switch bullish, if we are not going to shift bullish, that means this relatively equal lows here, could be the grand scheme target for the sell move. So with that in mind, let's just go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, we could see how price reacted off of this fair value gap here with a sweep of this previous candle's high, and we closed somewhat with this bearish rejection. So with this bearish rejection close on the previous week's candle, we could anticipate a continuation of that bearishness to the downside. Now we have these targets here as where price could react off of for that bullish continuation to the upside. Now, not forgetting the other old month's low that we have marked out here. I'm just going to change this to X. So we have all these targets on the bearish side of things to target if we are going to continue bullish. So this week we could anticipate, if we're going to have a bullish rejection close, we would trade down to take any of these liquidities and then see how we close this week. If we're going to continue bullish, we could see a rejection close to the upside. If not, we could continue to the downside. Now, so for my expectation for this week, I would love to see what Monday's close would be like to anticipate the profile for the week. So moving on to the daily, we opened pretty much with a bearish push to the downside, so we could potentially see price take out these lows, this sell side liquidity over here, and when that happens, we will see what the reaction is to consider if it's going to switch bullish or we're still going to continue bearish to seek lower sell side liquidity. All of this is still within the discount area of the bullish range on the monthly, so we'll be careful to see how price react off of these areas to see how we can capitalize on any move on EURUSD. So that is my expectation on DXY. So on EURUSD, let's see what we have here. I'm just going to switch to the weekly time frame. On DXY, we are pretty much we just swept let me see to the monthly. We just swept this range low here, and you could see that we also closed somewhat bullish on the previous month. So where would be like where would likely be our short-term target? It should be this old month's high over here. That is, if we consider this as a bearish range, this high to this low, you can see that we could also go deep into premium to take out some form of liquidity to continue lower, if that is the intention. If not, then this range high would primarily be the target. On the weekly, last week we didn't close above this candle's high, so we closed with some form of a rejection. If this is a sign of price slowing down within the discount region to flip bearish, then we would find out this week. The potential liquidities for that will serve as a catalyst for that sell move are this and this. So we will see how price reacts off of these areas for a potential sell trade, or if price chooses to get here, whichever comes first. If price comes towards this fair value gap area, we could see how we can, depending on how price develops in this area, it will determine if we're going to take a buy to the upside. So that is my anticipation for this week, and I'll be looking for to see how Monday closes to determine my move on either Wednesday, Tuesday, or Thursday. Whichever provides a high probability setup, I'll be willing to take. So let's see how the week goes. See you on the next one.